If you ever suffer from stress or anxiety or fear of having to present or pitch your ideas or just be more confident in meetings at work, then you're going to love this episode where I'm going to be delving into a proven technique to help you reduce that stress and anxiety so that you can turn up confident, calm, and clear about what your ideas are or what your messages are to help you get more recognition and better rewards and results at your work. Welcome to the Nils Vesk Show, where every episode is designed to help you think faster, solve problems creatively, and generate breakthrough ideas to catapult your success. G'day! Hey, thank you for joining me in this little session today, which is going to be a little bit alternative. Now, I frame that up in a good way because we're going to deal with one of the most common problems I come across with our clients when we're coaching or mentoring them, and that is around the fear of presenting or pitching ideas, essentially getting nervous or stressed out about projects. And I was just thinking about this the other day because we're going through, and when I say we, my wife, Anna, and our two kids are going through a sort of a stressful experience at the moment. We're wanting to sell our place. We're not quite getting the offers that we really want. And I just realized that there was a bit of stress and tension and anxiety going on. And so I used a technique to help eliminate or reduce that stress by a large amount. And the technique is called EFT, or Emotional Freedom Technique. So to put this in perspective, EFT is a technique that was originally created by a guy by the name of, I think it was Dr. Roger Callahan, and he was a psychologist who was dealing with a patient, a client who just kept complaining about this problem in their stomach and they couldn't get rid of it. And one day, after trying every cognitive behavior therapy technique he could think of, he went, well, why don't you just tap this area under the eye? That's being an acupuncture point for the stomach meridian. And, he didn't expect anything to happen. And lo and, totally to his surprise, as she tapped that point after it and said, yeah, I've got this feeling in my stomach, the pain disappeared. And it gave him an idea to start looking at tapping different meridians and meridian points around the body. And it started to work. It improved his therapy results. And so just want to preface a couple of things up. First, if you're not familiar with meridians, think of Chinese, what they call TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. And thousands of years ago, the Chinese started to map the body, looking over hundreds and hundreds of different illnesses that people had. Or when they've got a cough, they were sore on this point here between the thumb and forefinger. So they would draw a point on. They started literally mapping the body, and they identified a number of what we would call meridians or energy pathways. A good way to think about this is it's kind of like a freeway. Imagine a freeway and there's an accident. All of the energy, the chi, trying to get through there is blocked, and that manifests itself either in a pain, an illness, or a mental issue of some sort. And so over hundreds and hundreds of years, the Chinese developed these different acupuncture points to help eliminate areas of tension to allow this chi to go through. So that could be to reduce anxiety, to reduce the a fever or pain or illness, you name it, that's what it was from. So with that in mind, we've got Dr. Roger Callahan who kind of made this unique discovery. And he had a student by the name of, I think it was Gary Craig, who was a Stanford engineer who really liked the technique and took that, simplified the technique that Dr. Roger Callahan had created and looked at getting people to tap a certain number of meridians over the body and getting people to score it and to use these, sayings of what's going on to help eliminate the stress. So that's a bit of context to it. So I want to kind of share how you could use this with a couple of examples. So I just mentioned before, my wife and I going through a bit of stress, a bit of tension where we want to sell a place, we're not getting offers that we want. And so I started to tap on it. And the first part that we can start to tap, or first thing we should actually do is check in, scan our body where we might be tense or where we might have tension. So for me, there was some tension in the neck and the shoulders, and I give it a score out of 10. So I felt like, well, I've got this tension in the back of my neck and shoulders. It's a 9 out of 10 in terms of pain or tension. And then we start with the karate chop. For those who can't see me on this, I'm tapping I guess you'd call it the side of the hand. You know when someone would do a karate chop with the side of the hand? Yeah, I'm just tapping that with my fingers of the other hand. And I'm just saying, even though I've got this tension in the back of my neck and it's really bothering me and I'm anxious about not getting the price to sell our home, I completely and deeply accept myself. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. So we could just start by doing that, tapping that. And so you might know that what I was using is some words, just saying where the tension is, that annoys me, and I'm anxious about not getting the price that we want for our home. And then finishing up with always, and I totally and deeply accept myself. Why this is important is, I guess you could probably use, if you're looking from a modern psychology perspective, there's a movement called acceptance commitment therapy, or ACT for short, which is about accepting a discomfort and not trying to eliminate it and saying, this is horrible. It's just saying, hey, I've got this tension and it's there, I don't like it, but I can accept it. And by doing that, it actually reduces the volatility of it. It's kind of like turning down the volume of those annoying commercials, or turning down the heat on a boiling hot day, so it just gets you down to a lower level. Okay, so let's come back. So we tap first up the side of the karate chop side of the hand, saying, even though I've got this tension in the back of my neck and my shoulders, it feels like it's an 8 out of 10. I don't like this thing. I'm worried about not getting the price that we want for our home. I totally and deeply accept myself. Yeah. Then I would start tapping on the crown of the head, the dead center of the crown of the head, and I could keep going with that same sort of words. Even though I'm worried we're not going to get the price that we should be getting, I feel like it's worth a lot more than it is, than we're getting offered. I totally and deeply accept myself. Now I'm tapping in between, sort of like on the edge of the inside of the eyebrow. So where the two eyebrows start to come towards the middle of the face, I'm tapping on that, saying even though I'd like to get more for the house that we're selling, and I'm tapping the outside of my eyebrow, or the sort of outside of the eye, just on the skull there. Even though I feel our house is worth a lot more than people are valuing it, now I'm tapping underneath the eye socket. Just there's a little depression there. And even though I feel we should be getting more, I don't like these thoughts and feelings, but I'm having it, I have room for it. Tapping now underneath the nostrils. Even though I think we're getting not the offers that they want, and we want more money for our home, we think it's a beautiful house. Now I'm tapping underneath the lip there on top of the chin, and even though I've got this tension in the back of my neck, I completely and deeply accept myself. Now I'm tapping underneath the collarbone, and even though this frustrates me, this tension in the back of the neck, I'm anxious, I'm worried about it, I don't like these sorts of feelings, but I totally and deeply accept myself. And then underneath the armpit, so a bit underneath the armpit on the side of the body, and even though this worries me that we won't get the money that we think we truly deserve, I don't like these sorts of feelings. Now I'm tapping down underneath the bottom ribs on one side of the body, just to the front there, and I totally and deeply accept myself. Okay, so that would be one round. And I could choose now to score and go, you know what, it kind of feels like about a 7 out of 10. And I could continue on through that again. And we don't necessarily have to tap every part of the body continually. We might just start going from the eyebrow and down and work our way through. We could do it in one round. So let's say, for example, I'm going to do a keynote or a presentation, and I'm going, even though I'm tapping now the side of the hand, even though I'm worried about doing a presentation that sucks, it doesn't do well, I'm tapping the top of my head, even though I feel I might be underprepared, maybe this idea's no go good, now I'm tapping the inside of the eyebrow, even though I feel like it's a good idea, I'm a bit worried, tapping the outside of the eyebrow that someone will reject it, that I'll look stupid, tapping under the eye, I feel like maybe I'm not smart enough to get this project over the line, tapping underneath the nose, above the lip. And even though I feel This is a good idea. I'm tipping under the lip, the bottom lip. I'm anxious that someone will reject it and criticize me, tapping under the collarbone. And even though I've got this, I totally and deeply, tapping under the armpit, totally and deeply accept myself now into the rib cage, and I have room for it. And then. So that's part of the process. Now, here's the cool thing. There has been, in the last decade, oodles and oodles of research that's going on. And in fact, in Australia, our very own professor, I think it's Peter Stapleton from Bond University, has been sort of at the forefront of some of this research. And I heard a podcast from her the other day sharing some of the advances in the research that's been going on. So yes, there have been huge benefits from a symptomatic experience. So that is when a patient says what the symptoms are, that they feel better. So it's been around anxiety, depression, reducing compulsive eating or eating habits, chronic pain, fear, phobias, and stress. So some big benefits in reducing all of those. But they've also done a lot of research on a biochemical impact on the body. So how does this affect your body? And so one of the things that they found, I think there was a group that they had tapping for 1 hour. Individuals would find by tapping for 1 hour, they could reduce cortisol levels by 20%. And if they tapped in a group setting, so a group of them tapping for an hour, they could reduce that cortisol by 40%. They even found, I think through MRIs, that just imagining tapping these meridian points around the body can also have a positive effect in reducing cortisol levels and the sort. So, coming back to this question or this challenge, and I know I get a lot of clients saying, how do you stay so calm when you're, in front of 3,000 people or just even, 10 people on a stage or in a boardroom? And one of the things I will do as I'm waiting on the side or while I'm, going to the bathroom before I'm tapping away, just going, even though I feel anxious about this keynote I've got to deliver, whether it's good enough, whether the client's going to like it, and even though I feel a bit nervous and anxious, I don't like these sorts of feelings, but I truly and deeply accept myself, and I'll go through that way there. So that's it from me today. I hope this has been of value to you. If you like this sort of stuff, please send us a message. I respond to every email, much to the chagrin of my team, but I really do love feedback because it enables me to craft stuff to help you get better results. Because I reckon you guys work way too hard to not get the results that you truly deserve. Make sure also you check out ideamaverick.com. We've got some great programs there. Also, Ideas with Legs, that's our creative innovation agency, or nilsvesk.com. Thanks so much for watching, listening, tuning in. See you soon.